What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Happy Thursday night. Happy Friday before, whatever it is. I think it might be already Friday where Mr. Brodney is. Shout out to Mr. Brodney. How you doing, sir? Hope you're having a
Good,
great night.
bro.
Not you. I'm not used to Brodney being in the chat. I used to him being on camera with me. I feel naked right now without Brodney. That sounds weird. Then pause. But you know what? It's always good, man. I hope you're having a good night, Brodney. Appreciate you being here. It is the Mandalorian season 3. We are going to be talking spoilers. We're going to be talking the last episode of Mandalorian 3. We're also be talking about the two prior because we did not actually get the chance to record. Life happens. We're both fathers. We're both busy. And we're both old. Well, I'm old. Jay's young. So you know what? We didn't have we didn't have time to do that stuff. But we're gonna talk about them now, and then I'll let you know. I'll let you know that when we start talking spoilers for the last episode, if you haven't watched the episode, you can leave and come back, or you can just hang out if spoilers don't bother you. Mr. J, how you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well, man. Like you said, last few weeks been busy. Trips had been made. Deadlines had to be done. But it's good to be back. Got to be back on talking Mandalorian Star Wars stuff with you. Even though Bronny hates it.
He hates the Jedi. He hates the Jedi. I'm telling you, I'm gonna push for him to have to do a episode on the Jedi. Like we'll get all three of us, we'll record it and just have why he hates the Jedi. It's hilarious. And when he starts going in on it, it's like the best thing ever. I like certain things make me giggle, Jay. Those are one of them. That makes me giggle when Rodney starts going off about the Jedi. Real quick, we'll shout out some people in the chat. Spawn, what's going on, Spawn? Hope you're having a great night. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Obviously, Brodney, I got 45 minutes until Friday.
Nice.
Hopefully, Brodney has tomorrow off. Hopefully. Big Reg is in the house. What's up, Big Reg? Make sure to check out his content. Great content. Great great videos he puts out talking Ravens, talking about life, things like that. Really check out his content. So let's get into it. We're going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk about the prior two episodes, prior to the last episode, and we'll kind of talk about that first, and then and we're not going to go over too much. We're just going to give our thoughts on it, anything that surprised us, things like that, and then we'll get into the final episode. So first, Guns for Hire. This episode takes place. I didn't remember what the system was, but basically, Bo has talked to the armorer, and the armorer is like, "Hey, you're gonna unify us," And so we were talking, you and me were talking about, okay, like how is she gonna unify us? Is she gonna fight Din for the dark saber, things like that? We didn't really get a clear answer. Well, she's gonna go find the fleet that she had lost, and or not lost, but they kind of split from her. And they're gonna find that fleet, and they're gonna bring them with the other Mandalorians. So we end up going to a planet that was a planet that Imperials had landed on prior, and then that which ends up being the Imperial ends up being Jack Black, who ends up falling in love with their princess, who is Lizzo, and they decided, hey, we're like independent from everybody. We don't allow guns. We don't allow this. So the Mandalorians are outside of the Dome City. Din and Bo go inside, and they go, hey, we have a problem. We need your help, and we don't allow weapons, but because you're Mandalorians and that's part of your culture, we kind of need you to help us. Or would you help us? So they say, cool. You end up getting the cameos of Jack Black, Lizzo, Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. Ends up being bringing up the battle droids. Battle droids are from the prequels, and so you're like, oh, that's kind of dope. See battle droids, and they just kind of go on this buddy cop adventure, trying to figure out why the droids are malfunctioning. It ended up being because of the character of Christopher Lloyd, that he had put some kind of code in them through the liquid that these these robots are drinking. Um, and they end up just solving the problem, and that's it. And you're like, okay, is this a filler episode? Like, what is this episode? But then Bo goes to see the fleet. Axe Wolf is there. He's now the leader. She challenges him for the fleet. She ends up beating him. He kind of starts throwing at her, well, hey, in order to lead us, you need the dark saber. He has the dark saber, so you're not really our leader. And then Din kind of throws out there, like, hold up, wait a minute. She saved me. Someone beat me, but they beat me. They basically had the dark saber. She beat them, so technically the dark saber is hers. So through technicality, and he gives her the dark saber, and boom, we end on that. Before we get into the next episode, Jay, what were your thoughts overall about this episode? Did you think it was a filler? Did you not care for her? Like, what were your overall thoughts?
Um, this was my most least liked episode of the series. I did like that, Jack Black. We saw Lizzo. I want to say this is her first acting gig. I'm not sure, but we all know Lizzo as a singer before anything else. But I have mixed emotions about this, especially with the handing over the dark saber. That I want to say it made me mad, but it's like you mean tell me you had to battle for it, but you just really gonna give her a layup? Be like, oh man, I see what's going on here, and everybody's cool with it. That made me conflicted. There we go. That's the right word.
Okay.
And also this may be little, but to me, when I see like Rogu playing, helping the queen or whoever she is cheat in that little game she's playing, I'm thinking like, yo, if you can cheat for her in this little game, you can get out there and use the force in battle time.
Right. Well, I mean, he kind of. We'll talk about it in the next in the last episode. But
I know he has in in previous seasons in the Book of Boba Fett, the episodes where he appears in the Book of Boba Fett. But I'm just saying, it makes me mad when he doesn't use it more. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
When the screen, like when the people write him as this scared little kid. I'm like, no, he can do more. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking he can do more. He should be doing more. Why is he not doing more? If he's not doing this, cheating for her in this little game.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Overall, the episode was one of those episodes where it felt like a filler. Um, and you're like, okay, it's kind of a filler episode. But there was some cool cameos. There was some cool storytelling. There was a lot of character building. Now, as far as the dark saber being passed over, technically, Din's right, but it's such a soft way to give her the lightsaber. It's sorry, the dark saber. It was kind of like you said, it was a layup. It's here we laid it up for you. All she had to do was dunk it. And so I was on a technicality. He's right, and I was okay with it. But as far as like just handing it to her, like I kind of wanted her to earn it a little bit more. Like I'm not against her having it, but just a little bit earning it more would have been okay. But it is what it is. But I could understand why people are upset and are bothered by it, because they were like, hold up, wait, you're right. He had a fight for it, but then you just kind of get it. Now, granted, we talked about it in a previous episode. The ability for her to use the dark saber, she was way advanced in them. So, like the dark saber, she should be using. But when you're taught, when she wouldn't receive it, when Moth was clowning her in the second season, and he was trying to give it to her, and he was clowning her, and then when he went to go see her, he's like, "Here, I'll give it to you," and she's like, "No." But then, oh, it's a technicality. Sure, I'm going to take it now. Like, come on, that was my only issue. But I get what you're saying. Guns for Hire was a low to mid tier. Apart from them recognizing Mandalore, they looped a loophole that the dark saber to be for the finale. Yeah, it was definitely a loophole in order to get Bo the dark saber. So I understand it, but we could have done better. We could have done better with that. I think that we could have definitely done better with that, and I didn't care for it too much. But it is what it is, and it is what it. It just is what it is. So, If you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, the dark saber fiasco was not the way. Yeah, like I know, I totally understand that. Like, um, oop, my camera went out for some reason. Hold on one second. Sorry. Okay. Um, well, what the hell is going on with my camera? I don't know what's going on with my camera. My apologies. Yeah, that the dark saber fiasco was, it was a little um. I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it's what they chose to do, and there's not much we could do about it at this point. Oh, what the hell?
But yeah, I just want to say, smile. Yeah, I do agree. From like me watching Rebels and the Clone Wars, like and this is like not the first time we've seen like her with the dark saber. Like every time she has a dark saber, something bad happens, or she just loses immediately. Like
Yeah, I saw I saw a comment with someone, and we'll talk about it in the last. Someone goes, Bo stays losing the dark saber.
I'm thinking, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking like, yo, like, are you actually gonna do something with it this time?
Yeah,
If not, I'm thinking like, really, history repeating itself. You have never learned nothing over the past 10 years.
facts, facts. So, um, yeah, I agree with Spawn. The episode was mid. I understand. It was meant to try to fill that plot hole with the dark saber, which, okay, if that's what you're gonna do, but I would have rather had a little bit of a deeper story. I understand people that enjoyed it, and I understand people that didn't enjoy it. And that's fine. But I personally would have just liked a little deeper of a story, in order to kind of see, like, just like, again, just make it that she's worthy of it. You know, is all I wanted. And that's all I cared about. I understand that people liked it and people were fine with it. That's totally fine. But it was like, for me. But it is what it is. But it's okay. And then we have the next episode, the spies. Now this one, I think this one pissed off a lot of people. Personally, I think a lot of people got pissed off at this episode, because it literally tricked everybody. Um, it like it when you look at this episode and you see the spies, you're automatically assuming, like, all right, it's about somebody's a spy in the group, and they're gonna screw the Mandalorians over. That's
Mm-hmm.
what everybody thought. So you're like, all right, that's what this is gonna be. But who is it? So we start off Kane. I hate her. I hate them. I hate them to death. Kane's in the back alley looking like Blade Runner 2099.
Yes.
Freaking, it's raining. It's all, she's looking up. Ugh. And we see Moff Gideon. And he's like, yo, what's going on? And she's like, hey, Navarro, the parents talking Navarro, um, it didn't work. And it didn't work the way we thought it was going to work. And he's like, well, I thought you said the New Republic wasn't going to help. And she's like, no, it wasn't the New Republic. It was the Mandalorians. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to take care of them. So then uh, the he gets off of it and he goes into a room, and it's the secret shadow group. And it's all the Imperial warlords talking. And they're like talking, and you get some Easter eggs. The name of, I don't know if they mentioned it right here. It's called the Shadow Council. But you have Captain Penilia. He's the right hand man of Grand Admiral Thrawn in the books and everything like that. So that made that him canon. And then you also get Brendel Hux. Now, obviously, in the sequels, uh, we have Hux, who is the First Order's commander. This is his father. And so they're having this conversation. They're talking about Project Necromancer, and all these things. And Gideon's like, "Well, when's Thrawn supposed to come? Y'all keep saying Thrawn's supposed to come, but he hasn't come yet. So when is he supposed to come? Um, and take leadership of and help us win this war." He's like, "Well, maybe we should move on." He goes, "And I need some backup." He's like, "I need bombers. I need Imperial. Uh, what were they calling? Imperial Tie fighters, and all these things." And they're like, "Oh, are you worried?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "Are you worried?" And he's like, "They're like, yeah, we're worried because um, the Mandalorians are going to try to retake their home. Now, mind you, we don't know where Gideon is." Uh, so we're assuming like, oh, he's on some base. So he's like, yeah. And one of the things I forgot is as he's walking to the Shadow Council, you see tanks, and we can obviously tell they're cloning tanks, like Snoke. So we're like, oh, okay. And there's a throwaway line when he's talking to the Shadow Council now that I realize it. He tells them, you guys are the ones that are so obsessed with cloning." And we find out in the next episode that actually so is he. But he's like, "You're so obsessed with cloning, I'm just trying to, bring us back to order." And so they say, "Okay, we're gonna give you these guards." End up they're called Priya I forgot, I can't pronounce the name. But they're the red guards, the ones that you see in The Last Jedi that Ray and Ben Solo fight. So they're like, "Okay, we'll send you these things." So now, uh, um, what's going on, King? Hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you being here. So now, the Bo and there we go. Press. Ugh, there's no Q in it. I think you're right though. It's Praetorn. I don't know again, I'm horrible with pronouncing. But thank you, Spawn. Appreciate it. So the Mandos roll up to Navarro, and here you go. You have both sides. You have the ones that believe in the old way, the ones that believe in the new way. And Armor comes in and is like, "Yo, we're gonna have a feast. We're all gonna get along." And it's just tension. Why it's just tension. You're like, man, like, is this even gonna work? And so Bo gets up and is like, "Hey, we need volunteers because we're gonna go back to Mandalore. It's not we're gonna have the fleet stay up top. We're gonna go down there. We're gonna try to get a perimeter set for us, and then we're gonna bring down the fleet and retake Mandalore." And so Praetorine, Praetorine, Praetorine guides. I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you, King. Appreciate it. And she's like, so all the main Mandos volunteer. Obviously Din, the armor, Sasha Banks' character, Axe Wolf, Prez Vizsla, all of them volunteer. So they get to the planet, and Prez and Axe Wolf have a moment because they open the bottom of the ship, and he's like, "Man," he goes, "this looks bad." He goes, "Yeah, I was here when it happened." And they kind of have a mutual respect thing going on when that happens. So they get down there, and they end up finding other Mandalores who are kind of Mad Maxing it around the planet. And they're like, "Hey, like we're still here to serve you, Bo," and all this stuff. So they have hurt people, they have people that are injured. So the armor's like, "I'm gonna take them back to the fleet to get them medical help." And right there, everyone's like, "That's weird. Why are you trying to take off for?" And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, there's no reason. Like, she's trying to help. But apparently people were like, "Nope, that's weird. Why is she trying to take off?" So these Mandalorian that they found, they tell them, "Oh, we can take you to the Great Forge. We know where it's at. Roll with us." Cool. So you get the moment on the ship, on their boat, where Pez and Axe start fighting, and Grogu stops them. And Bo tells Mando, like, "You taught him well," and he's like, "You didn't learn that from me," which has been said a couple times in this season. Which I wonder if they're going to bring that up next season, possibly. But so he stops the fight, and then they're rolling through the world, and all of a sudden, there is a Godzilla like monster, kaiju, comes out of the, and I thought at first it was the mythosaur. I was like, oh, the mythosaur knows they're here, and it wasn't. Ends up destroying their boat, and they end up having to go down underground. And they're like, we're not far from the main from the big forge. They're like, we're close. So they're traveling. All of a sudden, they hear jetpacks, and they're like, wait, is that the fleet? And you see from that episode, you see the white Mandalorian uh, Imperial guards coming, and so they boom, a fight breaks out, and they're boom 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 shooting. All this stuff is going down, um, and they start to be able to take them over, and the white Mandalorian Imperial troopers take off, and so they start to follow them, and as you see them following them, the terrain starts changing, and it starts to look like an Imperial ship, and you're like, wait, did we like skip a part, or we miss a part, or what's going on? Were you confused by that, Jay? When all of a sudden they were in the cave, and then all of a sudden they're in an Imperial, looks like an Imperial ship.
For me, I had missed that. But I wasn't really watching the landscape.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it was you saw it as they were running. It was
Right.
like the landscape change, and they get to corridor. They get to a corridor, and they're firing on these white Imperial troopers. And then all of a sudden, the doors close behind them, and the door closes on like two or three Mandalorians with Din, and they take the two Mandalorians that were with Din. Man, they got suckered because they got taken out quick. Like it took forever for them to get Din just down. Those two just got shot up quick, and they were done. But they basically catched Din, and then all of a sudden, I thought this was I thought it was Dark Maul, but it was ends up being Moth. He lands, and he's all decked out in his new suit. And he explains that he basically took Beskar alloy, and he took the Dark Troopers mechanicals and put them together and made that suit. So a lot of people, when we'll talk about it in the finale of things happening, the reason why a lot of this stuff happened and he seemed stronger than what he was because he had mechanical from the Dark Troopers in the suit. So it made him stronger. It made him more durable. It made him be able to do unhuman like things. Um, and so just to throw it out there because this is going to come up later when we talk about the last episode. According to ING, it was not even going to try to pronounce that, but it was like I'm not even going to try to pronounce that either. Adam Tonus from Final Fantasy. So basically a big ass monster, a kaiju. But thank you, King. Appreciate it. You got to be able to look it up before I did because I was supposed to do that before we got on, but I ended up having not be able to do it. Anyway, so then he tells the troopers take Den to a holding or a interview detention place or whatever, and he starts talking to Bo, and he's like, "Look, give me the dark saber. Let your people know that this is my planet now, and I might let you live." And she was like, "No, like what? No." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go take out your fleet too." He's all launch the bombers, launch the Imperial TIE fighters or the interceptors. That's why I keep calling them Imperial. The intercept TIE fighters and go blow up the fleet. And Paz and all them and everybody looks at each other and they're like, "This is the way we're gonna go out. So let's go." And let me back up a little bit. Why they were fighting the white Imperial troopers, Axe says, I'll get to the fleet," and takes off to the roof basically to try to get to the fleet. Now, this is where the spies, a lot of people were upset because people were assuming it was the armor or Axe Wolf who was the spies and helping Moff and set them up. That certainly seemed like it because Axe just takes off and says he's going to go get the fleet, but is he really? So he takes off. Din gets captured. Bo's faced with the decision, and she says, and everyone just agrees, like, "No, we ain't going out like this." So she takes the saber and starts cutting a hole in the door. They're firing. Moth has them open the blast doors, and they're trying to kill him, and Paz is just mowing down people with that Gatling gun, just boom, 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 just taking everybody out. And they start to escape, and Bo's telling Paz Vizsla, he's like, hey, she's like, come on. He's like, no, I got you guys covered. And then everyone gets out. She's like, come on. He's like, no, there's too many of them. I'm not gonna let them get to you. Go. And he hits the door, and you're like, shit, he's sacrificing himself. You're like, God damn it. So you're like, all right, he's gonna die. Well, he ends up going out like it. Well, hold up. Before he died, he ends up going out like a G, because he takes them all out. He's probably hurt. He takes them all out. All the white Imperial wannabe Mandalorians. That's what I call them, wannabe Mandalorians. He takes them all out, but then there's that epic shot of the guards rolling up with their, I want to say makeshift lightsabers, or those same kind of weapon as a lightsaber, but they're not lightsabers. And then they just proceed to jump Paz. Like that's so dirty. Why you gotta jump him like that? This isn't The Wire. You don't have to jump him. Like, this isn't The Hood. And they jumped him, and that was bull. And he went out with a G though. He got his knife. He had his shield. He was like, I ain't going out like a punk. And he didn't really go out like a punk, but they did him dirty, and I didn't like it. Yeah. So shout out to Paz. I felt bad. I was like, damn. And now his son's over there like, where's my dad? Like, your dad got jumped. And
so he did a good job beforehand though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, he was what? And when he had killed the last wannabe Mandalorian, I was like, oh, he's gonna survive. And then I forgot about the guards. I was like, oh, and as soon as I heard the music, I go, shit, it's the guards. And they rolled up. So they end up killing him, and that's where the episode ends. And we're like, oh, okay. So now we're gonna roll into the final episode. Like, what's gonna happen? Who's the spy? Spawn says here, the spy was really a solid episode. Good tension, actually gave a reason to be concerned with the addition of the guards. Yeah, absolutely. Because I was really like, okay, so is someone like, are we gonna learn who snitched them out, or what's gonna happen? And they left you on kind of a cliffhanger, but not really. But it left you with questions like, okay, who's the spy? Why did the armorer take off? Why did Axe take off? What is Moth gonna do with Din? That he has him. So we're like, interesting. So they left you with a lot of questions, and I was like, okay, I like where this is going. And King says, I have a question, but I'm going to wait to see if you'll address it in the final. Yeah, no problem. So real quick, Jay, I know I went over a lot there. Just overall about the spies, give your thoughts, give me anything that you liked, didn't like, what you saw, if I missed something, anything you want to give on that.
Yeah, like Spawn said in the chat, I like this episode better than the previous one. Kind of made up for it. I think this is the one where Grogu gets the IG-12.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I did forget to mention it. My apologies.
And you get to see him kind of like sort of speak, well, not speak, but like kind of like with the yes/no button. And I'm thinking,
which was funny.
And like the way he's acting, I'm thinking, like, is Grogu like a teenager right now? Or just being like he's making, he's sassing, like the scene where he's like sassing, Dejarin. It's like I'm like, oh man, he's talking back now, so he thinks he's all grown up. And I'm thinking, like, in my head, I'm like, all right, Grogu, you acting like this, you better be in there in the battlefield. But alas, no. But I thought that was a cool moment. I'm thinking like, okay, now you really see their relationship like grow. I think that was like an underrated moment right there, where he's going like, no, yes, yeah. Like, Dad, let me keep the suit. I'm good in it, even though we all know Grogu doesn't need it, because we all saw how he we'll talk about it in a few minutes. But yeah, Paz went out like a G. I'm glad Bo didn't give up the Darksaber again.
I tell you, I saw someone say, Bobby straight up losing the Darksaber every time.
Yeah, and I'm glad, but I'm not sure why. I'm glad it was honorable what Paz did, but I'm not sure why he did it, because he was so gung ho about creating the future for the future younglings and for Mandalore, but they could have taken them out together as a team. Like, for me personally, I don't think he needed to sacrifice himself though.
What if he was tired of his baby mama?
That could be.
Who's his baby mama? Is the armor his baby mama?
That'll be wild if you find
Who's
that
his
out.
baby mama? Maybe he don't want to pay child support. He's like, I'm good.
How you pay child support Star Wars? Like seriously, how you pay child support Star Wars? Credits,
credits, Beskar.
Yeah, but when I saw
He was
those
like, I'm
guards,
done. Yeah, you're right.
When I saw those guards, I'm thinking like, shit.
Yeah,
like I said, those guards that you saw in The Last Jedi, and Ben, like I said, Ben Solo had a hard time. Even he had a hard time, fighting them off. So that made me appreciate that little scene where, Pez is just handling them all by himself, and he was getting the upper hand until, of course, 3 versus 1 kind of.
Got jumped, man.
And, he's not like moving like Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan, so he finished. So that was
and he already took punishment from the wannabe Mandalorian. So I mean, he was already
he was going old school, Big Show, Kane, just clotheslining like, hey man.
So he threw like 2 of them, and then like he did a football push on 2 of them off the thing. But he was tired, and then the guards came in and were like, oh yeah, we're and how can the guards even take that as a win? Like, dude was tired, and he still was holding his own. He could have easily grappled out or boosted out and thrown a thermal detonator if it was more symbolic. True, he could have done. And that was another thing too. The Mandalorians they don't use their jetpacks well. I've always seen those 3 fools. Call me a scaredy cat if I'm running away. But I see those 3 fools rolling with something that looks like a lightsaber. I'm like, I'm out. Deuces.
Right, and that's what I thought he was going to do when those red guards came. But I guess, like you said, he was just tired, or he thought this was his time to like. Hey,
and this is a true statement. Paz had a big arc. He really disliked Mando when they first met, but eventually came around after he saved his son, sacrificed himself for the cause. Absolutely. Yeah. He also, in that speech when they talked about going to help Navarro, he said that he's like, yo, me and Mando didn't always see eye to eye, but he risked his life for my son. Even when they rolled up, remember when they rolled up, he told him, he goes, you're a fake Mandalorian. He goes, you're fake too, and but he basically said, you ain't down for the hood, basically what he said. And then he was like, oh no, you guys are down for the hood because you helped me get my kid back and you risked your life. So you know what? You're good with me. So you're right, Pasquale. I was good with that. And I think that arc was good. I think it would have been more impactful had that sacrifice been like to save all the Mandalorians. Like he didn't he still could have got out of there. He could have done something and it just didn't seem like it. And so it kind of sucked. But it was a good overall episode. I was fine with it. Didn't have a problem with it. And like I said, it left us with a lot of questions. Now, did the next episode answer those questions? And we're going to get into it. So if you have not seen episode 24, this is going to be spoilers, just letting you know. The return. We're going to talk spoilers here. So if you haven't seen it or you don't want to be spoiled, come back later. Really appreciate it. We're going to talk about it now. So
you have been warned.
You have been warned. Exactly. All right. So the episode now continues. The episode starts. And kind of, let me see. Trying to see where. So the Mandalorians are on the run, trying to get away. Mando's been taken. And we see the armor, if I'm remembering this correctly, the armor is getting out of atmosphere. And she might have done that in the last episode. I'm maybe confusing the episodes. I know Axe at one point. Axe at one point is going out the atmosphere to try to get to the fleet, and he's contacting. Now, I thought that was a little weird because I didn't realize Mando's helmets could survive in the outer atmosphere. So I was like, oh, that's dope. Why didn't they take off before? But Axe is telling them like, yo, we're in trouble and all these things. So I'm like, okay, is this where like the spy thing kicks in, or is this where the armor turns their back on him, backstabs him, or is this where Axe is? Did Axe even go? Like, what's going on? But he did. Went up there, and they got up there, and they're like, all right, they need the fleet. So the armor's like, yo, everybody get ready. We're gonna go down there and help them. So I was like, okay, so neither one of them are traitors, unless it's gonna come at the end. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, kind of lackluster, but I'm glad neither one of them were a spy or a traitor because I didn't want that. Like it would have crapped all over their arc, and I didn't like that. So I would, and we really didn't know till the end of this episode if they were. But I like the fact that it wasn't just off the jump. Yo, this they're betraying them. So neither one of them. Um, Return of the Jedi or Return of the Mac. It's Return of the Mac always. King, that's funny. Um, but then we see the guards have, or not the guards, the wannabe Mandos have Din Djarin. They're walking with him, and he goes to try to make a move. He tried to get it free, and he's getting them, but he doesn't have any weapons, and they're kind of getting upper hand, and then all of a sudden, boom, you see someone stop him, and it's Grogu. Now this is what you were talking about. Like, hey, bro, you gotta do some kind of work, and he did. He showed up for his dad. He helped him, and he was able to stop him, kind of help Din get away. I thought the bath spray was pretty funny. Trying to heal him, and he's like, I'm okay, and he's like trying to heal him with the spray. Um, but he was able to help him, and I thought that was a really kind of cool moment, kind of a dad father son moment because he tells Grogu, "Hey, it's just you and me right now. I'm gonna need you to be brave, and I'm gonna need you to help me because I ain't got no weapons, and it's just us. And so I'm gonna need you right now. And you and me are both fathers. Could you imagine having to tell your son? And we know Grogu. We think he's a baby, but he's 500 years old. I think maturity for Yoda was 1,000 years or something like that. So he, like you were talking about earlier, is he at his teenage stage or what stage is he in? But just imagine having to tell your 10-year-old son, "Yo, I'm about to go get in a fight, and you have to back me up." Like that's a lot to put on a kid. But Grogu seemed up to it, and he was nodding. He was like, "All right, I got you." And I think even pressed yes, if I remember correctly. He's like, "Yes." Um, so and Dan tells him like, "Hey, we need to stop Gideon now because otherwise this is going to keep happening, and he's going to keep coming for us. So we're going to stop him right now." Um, so far, how did you feel about this episode? And we'll continue more, but I want to see how did you feel about this up until this point with like Grogu saving Din and Axe and the armor and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad none of them were the spies. I'm glad Axe actually went to go get help. When he said he was going to, so that was a big relief. I'm glad glad the armor was suiting up. And they were like about to get into like a dogfight with the fake Mandalorians. Like, could you imagine like going at it about 100 miles per hour in the air and you meet like a hammer from her?
Done. Yeah, and we'll talk about that moment, but that was dope as hell. It was how they did it was very dope to see when they descend and they're coming up, and you just see this clash of jetpacks and the dark saber and bow and everything. But Bo is able to get out. They're able to get out, but then they hear the fleet and the armor tell them, "Hey, we're coming to back you up." So they fly out. They meet them, and we're about to get into a big old fight.
Was good.
Real quick, King says it's a lot like Rocket and Groot. It's if you are familiar with the Guardians, absolutely.
I knew you were talking about it.
The entire battle was epic. Yeah, like that was very epic. As far as just visually, to see that because we've seen it in Clone Wars, we've seen it in the other cartoon. It's slipping my mind right now. Not Clone Wars. What's the other? Bad Batch? Not Bad Batch. What's the other one? Clone Wars, Bad Batch. What's the other cartoon?
With Star Wars related?
Yeah.
Wait, Rebels.
Rebels. Thank you. That's what I was talking about. Rebels. Thank you. We saw in Rebels. Yeah, we've seen those kind of battles cartoon wise, but we've never seen them live action. So this was dope to see it live action, and you saw Bo with the dark saber, and and then like you said, the armor has a freaking hammer, and she is just uppercutting something like if I'm seeing my homies get uppercutted by a hammer, I'm just like, I'm good. Like I'm going the other way. Shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take. What's up, Jose? I hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that battle starts, and so then they're trying to get to this his basically his headquarters in the station, and they walk through that hallway that we saw earlier when Moff Gideon walked through it in the episode prior. So you were like, okay, those are clone tanks, but who's in there? So I'm assuming it's Snoke. I'm like, oh, it's Snoke, obviously. But it's not. It's Gideon.
Gideon.
So that's why I say the throwaway line in the episode before was, "You guys are the ones obsessed with cloning, not me." And you're like, "Yo, okay, so he's obsessed with cloning also."
Big old hypocrite.
So now I'm going to point something out that I had seen people point out. The Gideon we see in season 1, he has a mustache. All these other Gideons and the new Gideon don't.
Yeah.
Now people are saying, well, what if he just shaved it off? Is there shaving in Star Wars? I don't know. But what if...
If you come to think of it, really? No.
Yeah, what if that's a clone also?
I'm saying, the real Gideon solo. Everybody had to be yourself mannequin.
Baby face. But then they always had a shave, so there is obviously shaving in Star Wars. But
with the lightsaber?
Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, with the lightsaber. It's a little too close. King's like one had a mustache and the other one didn't. Yeah. So this one was a clone. He's still alive. Yeah. Well, so then they bring. So I'll kind of. Din destroys all the clones, and then Moff shows up, and he's hey. And why if you're a villain, why do you expose what your plans are, what you're trying to do? Don't do that.
I hate that in every single show.
I get it. It's so we know what's going on.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like the villain can. I could say most villains in most shows can win if they shut the hell up and do
facts.
Like you give him the hero or the hero time. Like, yo, shut up and do what you're supposed to do, and then gloat afterwards. Like,
yeah,
damn.
For sure. So he says, I was making the perfect clone. I was giving him Mandalorian armor. They were perfect, but I was also giving him the Force, which is what he wanted Grogu for.
Yeah.
And he was going to make them Force sensitive. And he was making an army of them. So we know that's the plan. We know that Snoke ends up being Force sensitive. Now, if I believe they've already said there's going to be a season 4. And I talked about Grogu possibly dying in this season, and he didn't. And the way it ended, it really has me feeling that in season 4, Grogu's going to die. Because Snoke is Force sensitive, and unless because they cloned Palpatine, that's how he was Force sensitive. Somehow they were able to make the clones Force sensitive, and Gideon said, "I was on the verge of that." Therefore, he knows how to make them Force sensitive. Does that mean he gets Grogu? Because the way the season ends, and we'll talk about it, it just ends too happy for me, and which is one of my criticisms that we'll talk about later. But anyway. So now a battle starts between Moth and Din. Now, mind you, Din doesn't have any weapons. He only has he has a blaster. Or he had 2 blasters. And people were like, "Well, how is Moth able to beat him up?" Well, again, if you had heard when he said he had Dark Trooper technology put into his suit, so he is just RoboCopying or Terminatoring Din. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. This kind of sounds cheesy. But when the guard showed up and they start pushing Grogu into that room and that door closed, I had a panic attack.
I was so scared.
Because you cannot imagine being a father and your kid having to fight 3 grown-ass men.
All right.
And you can't help them. That
you getting your ass beat yourself.
Yeah, and you getting your ass beat yourself. And then you see your kid about to fight 3 grown men and the door closes. Oh, I literally had a panic attack. So Din and Moff are going after it. You see, there's the battle going up top. Axe Wolf got attacked by the intercept TIE fighters, but he's flying the Star Cruiser, and he's trying to basically crash it into the crevice of Mandalore where the space is. So you're seeing everybody fight, and you see Bo seeing Moth fighting Din. So she goes in there, boom, and she's like, "Go help your son. I'm gonna fight him 1-on-1." So we cut to Grogu, and they end up trying to they're beating the mech up, and he gets out, and he just starts jumping around the room trying to avoid them. And I thought of Mario Brothers right away because he's just jumping around, like not even trying to fight him or nothing. He uses the Force a little bit, you know. I don't think he used the Force yet, but he was just jumping around. And then they cut the thing. He falls, and they're about to attack him, and then Din comes in and just starts lighting them up. And then Din doesn't have any weapons, so he's fighting these guys. And then, like you said, Grogu finally decides to do something, and he starts pushing their weapons away, pulling their weapons, and moving them around. And Din's able to finally get the upper hand on them. Finally, right? Finally, like couldn't you do this a while ago? Like
right, that's all I wanted.
Like couldn't move the weapon to him, and so he could have used it. Real quick. I believe it is a test run for the tech. Yep, absolutely. And the real Moth will perfect it for use in the final battle of season 4, I believe. Also, the real Moth Gideon wouldn't do what he did to the dark saber. That is actually very. Oh, that's it. Well, that comes up next.
Yeah.
That comes up next. That fire didn't take out Gideon, but I believe his character is done for now. We'll talk about the next one. Well, don't forget there are other Jedi still out there: Luke, Leia, Ahsoka, Grogu, Kanan, etc. And they might not need to die to get the Force from them. Yeah, so we don't know for sure, but it would make sense because, again, like I said, this season ended so happy. Wouldn't it be great for Star Wars to pull the rug from out of us and kill Din and Grogu? Because I'm going to talk about something that happens at the end of this season and how it goes in, because they tied the sequels to it. So we know, that this is in the same universe. Where's Din and Grogu during, the sequels, during Force Awakens, during The Last Jedi, and all that stuff? But we'll get that in a minute. So Bo's down there. She's fighting Moth Gideon, and he's kicking her ass. He's beating her up. And then at one point, she tries to hit him with the Darksaber, and he grabs her hand, and he crushes it. Now, people are like, how can he crush it? I get why people are upset about it. But two things, though. People are like, it's made of pure Beskar. I don't think it could be made of pure Beskar because the hilt is Beskar, but the insides is wires, things like, because obviously the crystal, the wires, everything like that to light the blade. Also, too, like I've said a couple times, Gideon's new suit is Beskar alloy. Remember that, with the Dark Troopers technology. So it made them stronger. So as I can see people saying, wow, how did that happen? How did that happen? That's kind of how it happened. But if you listen to, I believe it was in The Spies, Bo's talking to Din. She's like, I don't know how I'm going to lead. This is the only thing that I have that leads these people. And Din's like, no, I follow you because you're courageous, you're compassionate, you're all these things. You're a good leader. I don't follow you because of the Darksaber. And us on this side, don't care about the Darksaber. We care about somebody that's a true leader. So this is like foreshadowing and kind of, and Darth Maul even says, he goes, oh, the Mandalorians are nothing without their trinkets, which I thought was a cold line. That was kind of shitty. It's kind of cold line. But he destroys the Darksaber, and it devastates him. Now, I want to get your thoughts on that. What is your thoughts on them destroying the Darksaber? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea, great idea, pissed off about it, happy about it? Like, what's your thoughts?
For me, I don't know if anybody else laughed, but I kind of looking like I laughed a little bit because remember what I said earlier, every time Bo touches the Darksaber, nothing good happens. And
I'm telling you, people were like, she stays losing the Darksaber.
She didn't happen for no more than what? 20 minutes? 30 minutes, maybe? And it's destroyed. I'm like, Bo, if they do create something that's I guess, better than the dark saber. Please don't touch it. But for me, I think it's good because when she said that, hey, when Moff Gideon's about to, I guess, try to finish her off, Bo finally sets his cold ass line like, hey, Mandalorians are better together. And I think that him crushing the dark saber kind of symbolized like, hey, I don't need like what Jaren said, hey, like yeah, I'm the leader, I'm the chosen leader, or whatever. I don't need this dark saber, whatever, because it's been through multiple people, Darth Maul, Moff Gideon, her, hell, even the crew on in Star Wars Rebels like touched it. I'm
Sabine,
for me,
Sabine.
it's meaningless.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day where they were saying, "Well, who's the true owner of the dark saber?" And I think it ended up being Anakin was the final person, because Moth was killed by Ben Kenobi, and then Vader killed Ben Kenobi, and then it ended up being Luke. Sorry, and then Luke beat Vader because Sabine Bo never actually really had it because they never beat Darth Maul because Palpatine beat Darth Maul, but he never took possession of it. So it was always still Maul's. It wasn't Sabine or Bo or Moth. And Kenobi's the one that beat Maul. So it was Kenobi's, and then Vader beat him, and then Luke beat him. So it was a cool little video. I don't know if that's true or not. Some people argue if that's canon or not. But yeah. So Bo's kind of sitting there, and she's like, she's done, and then here comes Din. Now I thought there were some great moments there. Someone said Grogu straight slide canceled Moff Gideon because he started using the Force and he was throwing them around. He was taking the weapons and all this stuff. So that was a cool moment. And I think Spawn is right. Now this is where I had a problem with the episode. Wolf ends up crashing the light speeder into the crevice, so it blows up, and here comes this big fireball. You're telling me I have seen Mando get shot at. I have seen him get hit. I have seen him get freaking damn near swallowed.
The flamethrower,
no issue. Flamethrower, no flamethrower. Perfect. You're at the flamethrower. Nothing happened to him. But Moff Gideon gets roasted like a rotisserie chicken and dies again. Beskar aloe, but he goes out like that, and I'm like, oh, I didn't like that. But Grogu ends up doing what he did in season 1, where the fire, and he puts up a force field basically to keep them from getting hurt. Someone said it was like a what was it, like a Lord of the Rings moment or something like that. It was really or a Jesus moment. It was very dope. The just a visual of how he was blocking out the fire was really dope.
But but if like people remember watching like Star Wars Rebels, Kanan did the same thing. Unfortunately, he died. Like it was on that end. But that's what I initially thought. I'm thinking in my head like, there's no way in hell Suge was right about Grogu dying. There's no way they're gonna do this.
And they would have done it right now, then that would have Mando says the dark saber. Yeah, so we're talking about the dark saber. I said, man, nothing to him. She loses the dark saber like we forgot something at home. Right? Mando was just roasted in this episode earlier. Yeah, exactly. Like, but then Gideon gets absolutely torched. It was a callback to Kanan. That's what I thought. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean Kanan. I meant Ezra Bridger, not Kanan. Yeah, for sure. But you're right. It could have been a callback to Kanan. I just really thought it was dope how he did that and was able to keep them safe. And almost looked like two proud parents surrounding him. They were kind of like, oh, we're proud of you. And then that's another thing. Like, if Moff didn't die, then what happened afterwards? He would have just been standing there and been like, all right, I didn't get roasted. We're still going to fight now. Like all of a sudden he just like disappeared. I don't know. That bothered me. I had posted on Twitter. I said, I liked the episode. I was fine with season 3, but a couple of things bothered me. That was one of them.
I'm thinking like something like Anakin, like where he was on that like in that lava. I forgot the planet or the name, but talking about after the fight with like Obi-Wan, and they started talking to each other. I'm thinking like somewhere like a cutback scene. It's gonna be him, arm, leg, third or fourth degree burns,
Well, Den should have those kind of burns too, because he got straight put in the face with the flamethrower, and nothing happened to him.
Okay, but flamethrower versus a whole ship exploding.
Fire.
I guess.
No, I get what you're saying, but I don't know. It just seemed really weak. I wish he would have went out like stronger. You know, and the planet you're talking about, Mustafar.
Yeah.
Mustafar. I not stronger, but I think they would have actually killed him. You know, even though he's the clone, we're assuming he's the clone. If they would have killed him, though, it'd be more satisfying. That's my problem. You know, and it wasn't. It was like, oh, he died from fire. Okay, so how did Mando, who got blasted in the face 2 or 3 times, didn't roast? Didn't make sense, and that bothered me.
And I'm just gonna put this out there, and again, I would say Mando does not have the hands when it comes to the boss battles. Every time there's a boss battle or a big animal,
or Bo either.
Whooped. No, Bo can hang, but Mando straight was getting rocked.
It was
kind of like how Godzilla was first in Mecha Godzilla in the recent King vs. Godzilla movie. Like manhandle, and that Rancor Grogu had to save him from that. So I'm like,
the hairy ass Mudhorn.
And the Mudhorn in season 1 in like Book of Boba Fett was that Rancor that was going to kill Din Djarin. It had Grogu not step in. Those Imperials going to kill then had Grogu not stepped in. So I'm thinking like, yo, what is this man good for? Again, I'll say that until he wins a proper fight. The only proper fight he won was against Pez. That was it. Everybody else was just,
and he had trouble with that one.
Exactly. So I'm thinking like, are you a true Mandalorian? Seriously.
Yeah. Grogu really processed with the Force as well. Notice how most of what he was doing was in defense compared to when the big cave rhino drained him completely. And well, yeah. And even in that part, if you notice, even in that part too, when after he did it, he like sat down.
He just sat down instead of just like passing out.
Where he was passing out.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. So that was cool. He should be getting used to blowing up Breaking Bad. Spoiler. Yeah. Espo the actor that plays Moff Gideon. Someone put that clip from Breaking Bad and was like Mandalorian without contents. And it's blown up. Space fire burns harder apparently. So now we cut. And the Mandalorians are at the waters, and the armor does pass his son. She bathes him in the waters. So then he didn't ask the armor to do Grogu, and she's like, well, he actually doesn't speak, so I can't do it. And he's like, well, if his parents allowed it, would you do it? And he's like, well, he doesn't have his parents. And that's where Din said, well, I'll adopt him. I'll be his father. And I thought Bo was going to say, we'll adopt him. But that didn't happen. But he says, I'll adopt him. He's my son now. So now his name is Din Grogu, which is kind of lame, to be honest. Why you just say Grogu is fine. Doesn't need to be a Din. Like, why? I'm named after my dad. I don't like it. Why you gotta name him after? No. Grogu's fine. We ain't got to do all that. Poor kid now. He's like, I'm Din. Grogu's a better name. Now, so they don't bathe him in the waters, but then he looks at the waters and he starts using the Force, and it goes down, and there's the Mythosaur chilling, and he connects to the Mythosaur. Now, this brings up a rumor or a theory that he is one day going to lead the Mandalorians by riding the Mythosaur. Because now the Darksaber is no longer around, the next thing you could do to govern the Mandalores is to ride the Mythosaur, which only 2 people know about it now, or 3 people: Bo, Armor, and Grogu. They're the only ones that know the Mythosaur is down there because he connects with it. I thought that was a cool moment. Are you surprised we didn't get a lot of the Mythosaur as we thought we were going to get? Like, we thought that was going to be a big part of the ending, and that didn't happen at all.
I was a little disappointed, but I'm glad that it showed a little bit towards the end. But I'm thinking my theory is thinking it's gonna kind of show up in Ahsoka, which I cannot wait for. By the way,
I think Ahsoka is gonna be dope. We'll talk about that.
This is like the first summer of my life. I don't care about like in my birthday's in like at the end of June. I don't care about that. I don't care about July. Skip to August. But I was disappointed, but I can't wait to see what they make of the Minnesota, like how they're gonna design it when they finally reach its live screen, because we only see the face and the tusks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we haven't seen the whole
right,
body.
And is Grogu gonna no, like I said, the previous videos are Force connected with it. I hope so.
Yeah, me too. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Or Ezra going to teach him how to like Force connect, because we saw him in that little trailer. Spoiler alert! Another spoiler alert. In a little trailer that Ezra was indeed alive. So is Thrawn and everybody else.
Yeah. Grogu is also better trained in the Force after being Luke. Yeah, no, for sure. You could tell that before it would train him, and now he's got more training. So the thing is, though, now we'll talk about the ending. Mando's going to train him in the Mandalorian ways. Right. So how is he going to continue his Jedi ways? So it makes me think that he's going to show up in Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's going to start. But then Ahsoka already didn't want to train him, so she didn't want to train him now. Like, it's very weird. We're going to see what happens with this. I think Din is a family last name, like a family name, like the last name. Yeah, but Din is. I get what you're saying. Like Din Djarin. Din is the last name, but it's first. You know, I just don't like it. I just think he should have been Grogu. I don't
like Son Goku and all that stuff, or
like Son Goku, Son Gohan. I don't think Son Vegeta is a thing. I think Son Gohan.
That doesn't even sound right.
Right. The Mesosaurus seems to be a vessel for boy characters arc without this season. Disappointed we didn't get more of that. Yeah, I really thought we were, and I really thought we were to get Bo with the Mythosaur, and that's kind of disappointing. Like, this episode wasn't disappointing as far as what, like, the two problems I have with this is the Moff Gideon death and the runtime. I felt a little rushed. They could have done a little bit more. Because when I saw 38 minutes, I go, damn, that.
Yeah, I'm thinking like finale. I'm thinking I want at least an hour, at least.
Yeah, I would have been okay with 45 to 55.
Yeah,
but you could have made the breaking of the Darksaber really, really emotional. You could have done Bo really understanding that the Darksaber doesn't mean anything. You could have done maybe Grogu almost dying before Den saves him, like, make it more dramatic. I think you could have done more with a better runtime. So when I saw 38 minutes, I was like, damn, this is short, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, hopefully they get it on. And so I do agree with people saying it was rushed. They could have done some more, but hey, we don't produce the show. Because Vegeta is the best, and he don't need that shit.
He really
Vegeta has like the best moments in Dragon Ball Z. He has some of the best moments.
He does put more work than Goku, though, in my opinion.
But yeah, Goku always comes up on top.
Yeah, that's the rider.
The only thing Vegeta has is he got Bulma over Yamcha, and he be climbing Yamcha every time.
That's still the dirtiest. That's still the dirtiest. That's still some foul stuff. He gonna take her his girl and he dies. That's some shit.
Right. So then we get a scene. They light the Great Forge, and they're all there, and they're like, Mandalore forever, I believe what they were saying. They're doing like kind of the Wakanda forever, but they were breaking the bases like this, yeah. And that's a good moment. That's a cool moment. We see that they're going to rebuild Mandalore. And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, how is this over? And I looked, and it's like 7 minutes left. And I was like, okay, like, all right, so we're gonna get like Ahsoka stuff. We're gonna get Grand Admiral Thrawn, and we don't. We just get. He goes to Carson, the New Republic X-wing fighter, and he's like, hey, just want to let you know, like, we both fight Moff Gideon, and I did you a favor, but I'm a bounty hunter. I got my kid now, so I need some money. So you're gonna hire me to help you out. and they have that conversation. And it's kind of like, okay, it was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, I need that head. And I was like, hmm. And so he's gonna make him another vehicle again. He's gonna have them make him another vehicle so he can get around. That's what I thought he was gonna do. Um, he goes back to Navarro, and he's talking to Carl Weathers' character, and he's like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, and Carl Weathers gives him a deed and says, "Hey, there's a little cabin out here that's yours. You and your son can chill there." He's like, "All right, cool, thanks." And then he goes, "I got something for you." And you see IG-11 walking up, but it's a whole IG-11, and now he's the Marshal of Navarro, which is dope because we know that guy can kill. He can murk. Um, and so he gives him IG-11. Then we see Mando just chilling in front of his cabin, and we see Grogu messing with the frogs, and it ends. And I'm like, cool. No Ahsoka, no Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I want to say preferences as saying we don't need that. I'm okay with that. But I thought that's where we were going. Now this is where I think that season 4 is going to be dark, because why would you end on a season with that much happiness? Like, it just ended. Like, oh, things are great. I don't know. I don't trust it. That's just weird to me, because it's like, oh, things are great. Now he has a little cottage. He can raise his kid. And if that moth wasn't the real moth and the other real moth is out there, he wants revenge. He's going to want revenge on him. So is that the next series, the next season, where he basically is training Grogu and fighting off Moff Gideon going after him? Because again, like, and I know King said it, there's other Force users out there, but we know what's the best way to hurt somebody. You go after someone they love, and he knows Din loves Grogu. So is he gonna try to get Grogu to make his clones Force sensitive? Because it's always like, oh, we destroyed the batch of clones. No, there's another facility that has like 30 clones over there. Because he talked about it. He goes, I want to build an army. So an army wasn't going to just be those 12 tanks. There's somewhere else that has all those clones. So I think that's what the next season is going to be. And real quick, let's just catch up on some comments real quick. Sponsors, the season overall was a 7 out of 10. Enjoyable, but some side stories we didn't need, but still fun. Yeah, absolutely. Agree. Vegeta, Piccolo, and a bit of Gohan. Don't know what that. I like Vegeta. Piccolo is the black guy of the series. We all know that. And Gohan. Like, Goku's just a bad dad. Like, saying. Goku has never beaten Vegeta in a fight. Go look it up. This is very true. He has not. He always gets help. Or he's always in there laying his ass whoop. We look at Dragon Ball Z all day. And if you saw the new movie, you'll see who won that. Was that the Brawly one? Because there's nothing new past Brawly.
The more recent one that dropped, I want to say.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I hadn't followed like newer stuff with Dragon Ball Z. Like, I had seen some stuff. Then I did watch Tournament of Power, but I haven't followed any of the movies or anything. Like, even the one where him and Beerus fight. Really? I had really fallen off because I know we're talking Star Wars. Here's an unpopular opinion. Maybe King's gonna kill me for this. I actually like GT. I really like GT. I've always liked GT, and people hate GT, and they don't feel it's canon, and that irritates me. I love GT. There was that one where they had the crossover where they were like different universes. So you had Goku from the universe we know, and then you had the GT Goku who was able to turn Super Saiyan 4, and they were fighting somebody. Like, I seen that parts of that, but I really wasn't deep into it. I watched Tournament of Power. Tournament of Power is dope, but I haven't watched any of the movies or anything like that. So I'm kind of behind, to be honest with you. And if you know a place to watch all that stuff, let me know, because I would love to watch it. I just don't. At the time, I didn't have money to get Crunchyroll and all that stuff, or where it was being shown. No, you're good, King. You can harp on DZ all you want. Does not bother me. These shows are notorious for having 5 to 6 minutes credits. Yeah, but then they didn't even have like an after credit or nothing. So I was like, man, what's going on?
That's what I was waiting for. I'm thinking, like, come on, this can't be it.
Right. It is. Are they sure there's a season 4? From my understanding, the rumor is Pascal has signed on for season 4. I'm not sure. But I don't know why they would end it like, if they ended it like this, that would be a big disappointment. But I think there is a season 4. I think I haven't I'll have to look it up, but I heard that Pascal, because there was rumors like he was upset that he wasn't much like, because if you know, the actor who actually plays Mando, the physical work is not Pascal, and so he would. There was rumors that he was upset about that and things like that. But then there's rumors that, or supposedly he signed on for season 4, so not really sure. But we will see. Whatever, my Favreau confirmed it. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Uh, the Gohan one, Dragon Ball superhero. Okay, I don't mind GT because I like Baby and Baby Vegeta. I didn't like the
Mhm.
baby storyline was dope. The only thing I like about the baby storyline was when Majin Buu or Boo and Vu joined together. I like that. That was my favorite part. That's always been my favorite part. Um,
What's that?
when
You
they
know, Mega
joined it,
Shenron. I'll be like, you misused the Dragon Balls, which is true.
right? The end of the show, see, it could have been a final to the show, but the Favreau has already confirmed, wrote, and could shoot in the fall. Yeah. Um, Hulu has it at Blue. Okay, I'm gonna check out Hulu. The Brawley movie was awesome. The only thing I got from the Brawley movie is when you see Goku dancing before he fights him, and then they turned that into a meme. Wish they could have used the Pantera song though. GT is all right, not bad at all. I just, if you talk to Dragon Ball fans, like GT is not canon, and like people get all pissy about it, and like, that's not
It's still
canon.
enjoyable to watch though. Like, how can you not like Super Saiyan 4 no Goku? I
Dude,
think
Super Saiyan
that's
4
like
was
the
dope.
best version. I think that's the best version of all his forms. The most
Yeah,
bad ones, at least.
well, it was dope, like how Vegeta kind of Vegeta. We talk Vegeta's dope, but he did skip Super Saiyan
Yeah,
3.
I'm like they for that. But even in the game, they
um,
just deal with it.
yeah. So, uh, thoughts on this episode, Jay? What'd you think? What'd you like? What you didn't like? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, just the it could have been longer. I felt like it was rushed myself. Uh, I'm glad that Grogu finally, got in the battlefield. I was so happy. I'm thinking like, Grogu, you have all this talent. Do something. Like don't let your dad, get murked. But I'm glad like they kind of like shout out to like Star Wars Rebels. I think that was good for like people like me who's been watching like all this for years. But I was scared. Like I was scared because I thought he was gonna not wait until the fire was gone. That he was gonna die like Kanan. But I'm glad he didn't. But also another thing that I think we didn't talk about with the they had said something on the ship about Pez being like a part of like Death Watch. Was it Death Watch in Star Wars: The Clone Wars? I thought they could have did more there. That was like I don't know if that was this episode or the previous one, but I thought that they could have did more there or brought that more up. Because I'm thinking Pez was in like the Clone Wars, right?
I'm not really sure. Well, that's John Favreau. I know that.
Okay.
Pez is John Favreau, so he may have been. I'm not really sure. Again, I didn't
Yeah.
watch Clone Wars or Rebels, to be honest with you. But if someone maybe knows, let me know. King says, I think season 2 was better, especially with the finale. So yeah,
Yeah.
well, season 2 is epic.
You had me in tears. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
Yeah,
cried.
season 2 is epic. Again, this is why I think season 4 is going to be dark as hell, and that's where they're going to gut punch you. I think they're setting you up here. Everything's happy. They're a family. He lets his kid now and all this stuff. And then season 4 is going to rip the rug right under from you. That's what I think. Um, I agree with you 100%. I think they could have done more storyline. Um, and I think that this is just, again, I have a feeling it was just it ended too happy. Night King, I appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, it's 12:30. No problem, man. Get some rest, get some sleep. Talk to
Appreciate
you
you, man.
later. Appreciate you for hanging out. Um, I think that overall, and we'll give our final thoughts here on. We've been going for an hour 15. Good lord. On season 3, I think the season was a good season. It sets up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I know it didn't end the way people wanted to, but it sets up a lot that season 4 could be epic. You can have the Ahsoka tie-in. You can have Grand Admiral Thrawn, Moff Gideon, possibly other Jedi. I think the death of Din or Grogu can happen. There's a possibility of the worlds between worlds. That's where Grogu ends up in, which is why, which I said earlier, why weren't they in um the Rise of Skywalker and any of those movies? There's a possibility that King had pointed out that there was a bunch of ships there, and you do see, I think, a rebel ship, the ship that's from Rebels or Clone Wars. I think it's Rebels. There's a possibility that you could see Den ship in there, which is true.
Yeah.
Um, but wouldn't it be kind of dope that like there's this big battle and then Grogu ends up, Den dies and Grogu ends up going to the world between world to train because of Den dying, and he comes back, this badass Jedi Mandalorian, you know. He takes Din's armor and takes it with him, and then once he finally fits it, or he melts it down to fit him, and he ends up creating his own armor and everything, and then comes back. That would
That
be
would be
dope,
that would be nice.
you know.
He
So
already, he
there's a
already
lot
had
of things.
the armor gave him, so that's not far fetched.
Yeah, and he's gonna grow. Now he's not gonna grow too big, but he's gonna grow. So I think there's a lot you can do here moving forward. Again, I understand why people this season is a mid season. A lot of people saying it's mid and things like that. I understand. Um, but if season 4 comes out and they just do a bunch of crazy dope things, and it really, like, season 4 ends up being the greatest season ever, you got to look back and look at season 3 and say, okay, season 3 set all that up, and that's what I think is going to happen. Hopefully is what's going to happen. The Buck stops here. Buck, how you doing? So season did not have a clear plot until the penultimate episode. Yeah, very sure. I think it did because it was a lot of what was going on in the season was showing the growth of Bo, showing the growth of Paz, showing the way of the Mandalore can be walked both ways, and how both tribes could get along and be successful together and work together. I think that's what the season was about. So season 4, we'll see what happens. Spawn says, season 2 finale, it was why I tempered all my expectations. Nothing that would be done could had topped that, honestly. Exactly. But they can't top it in season 4 by going all out. It could be very much a possibility, but we'll see what happens. Overall thoughts, Jay, on the season?
I liked it. I like that you couldn't really tell what was going on until in some episodes. I like that it called back to like some of the Clone Wars series, the Rebel series. But like the last few kind of made it murky. But like you said, it could be a set base for like Ahsoka, and if there's a season 4. So a lot of mixed feelings. I would say a lot of mixed feelings. I could see why fans are saying it's mid and why some are mad or dislike it. But like I said, like Spawn said, 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. It wasn't bad. I like the
Yeah.
background story, learning about drawing a little bit more, seeing Grogu grow. So that was my favorite. Seeing Bo grow as a character.
Yeah, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It's I mean it's very good. I had a fun time with it. There's some cool moments. There's some real awesome moments, and I'm fine as long as if they come back in season 4 and all this progresses to a really good story, then you're gonna look back at season 3 and say, you know what, it's really good, and it set a lot of things up. And so that's how I feel about it. Um, quick, yo Jay,
Yeah, man. So, yeah.
you want to do some STV talk? This music's so soothing. No STV talk. That's for another show. All right. We've been here about an hour and 20 minutes. If anybody in the chat has some final questions, anything you want to ask us, let us know. I don't think this is going to be the last of me and Jay doing any kind of reviews for shows or anything. I think we're gonna do some more of these. Just time wise, we're gonna have to, we'll figure it out. But if you have any suggestions or anything you want us to talk about, let us know. If you want me and Jay just to talk some Lakers, let us know. We'll talk Lakers all day. Jay loves the Lakers. That's what me and Jay get along with. The Lakers, right there. Well, this says lifers, but it's the same thing. But if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Let us know. We'll definitely get to them. And me and Joe will definitely get together if you want us to review anything or talk about anything. Let us know. It has been a great season. It's been awesome talking with Jay with Star Wars. When we started this, I told him, I said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I know him. I've watched him. I'm into him. I know some of the history, but I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. And I like this. I do like Star Wars. I do like where it's heading, and I hope it continues. When Ahsoka comes out, I think we're going to review Ahsoka. I'm excited for that. I really want to see where they go with that. And I think that is going to be awesome to watch. So I really feel that's going to be a fun time. Thank you, Big Reg. I'll get your comment in a minute, but Spawn has, what is your favorite new addition to the season, and which character did you dislike the most? Kane. I could not stand her. Him. Whatever. I couldn't stand Kane. I hate it. Great actor. That person is awesome. I'm talking about the character. Kane, I wanted to strangle them every time I seen him on camera. Could not stand that conniving. You know what? Screw that person. Screw that person. I disliked her the most, but she did a great job acting and making you dislike her. My favorite new addition, I think it's Bo-Katan. I know she wasn't new. I know she was in last season, but as a full-time character in the show, I liked what they did with Bo, and I liked the story arc she had, and I like how it was almost like a becoming a leader type season for her. So I liked what her story was. So I like what she was. So those would be my two. What about you, Jay?
The character that did that. At first it was Pez, but then again, he won me over with having Bo and Jara and so back and then sacrificing himself. So I'm thinking, well, that cancels out. So like, dang, I can't. No, I can't dislike him after that because I don't know. I didn't even no. I guess that the episode with the that king and queen. I mean, that kind of it didn't make me mad. It was like more like why.
So you dislike Lizzo and Jack Black?
I mean, as people, they're great. Like the list of music, Jack Black is one of my favorite characters. But the episodes is like again, why?
I get you. And what about new additions? Which one were your favorites?
New additions. Nope. What was new?
There's a couple new characters, but more characters got shine.
Yeah, I guess seeing like the whole Mandalore is like getting bigger. Seeing everybody come together with for one purpose. Now I like that. Like seeing the rest of the Mandalorian. So are they still gonna call it the Mandalorian or like what?
There you go. Yeah, that's very true. A lot of people were upset about that. They go, "Oh, it's supposed to be about Din." I was like, "It's not called Din Djarin, the show. It's called Mandalorian." But I get it. Living Red said Lakers need to beat Memphis. I hope so.
Yes.
After what Brooks said about LeBron better come out there and destroy him.
I need Miami LeBron versus Celtics. I need him.
Thank you, Big Reg. Appreciate it. It's always great to have you here and hanging out. Appreciate you. I think that's about it, everybody. Like I said, we are going to probably review Ahsoka. We'll try to make sure to be more on time with this stuff. It's our first time doing this. First time I've reviewed a show with somebody, so it was awesome to do it with Jay. We're gonna do some more, and we're gonna kind of make it a thing. Like I said, if you have suggestions or something you want us to talk about, just put it in the comments. Let us know. Message me, and we'll get it. We'll talk about it. Before we get out of here, Jay, let the people know where they can find you, hang out with you. Real quick, sponsors. People are shocked the Mandalorian was about other Mandalorians. Who would have not thought? Absolutely. Like, oh my God, Mandalorians, and it's not about one, it's about all of them. Why? Jay, where can the people find you at and follow any content that you
do? Pretty much can find me on Twitch. Reviewing stuff with Suge in the comments of Lunch Break Hot Take, the Road Pod, or if you follow those guys or the OTR Mike's show in the comments, but mainly on Twitch. I got I'll put some content up on TikTok. Little by little, I'm still learning the gist of that. That's mainly it. But you type in Jada6, it's probably me.
There you go. And his Twitch is in the description, so make sure to hang out when he goes live. Make sure to go hang out with him. He's a great gamer, real fun to watch. He's a lot better than me in gaming. So maybe I could get him on some Apex or something because I don't play Fortnite. I know you play Fortnite. I
I
don't play
know, I
Fortnite.
know.
Maybe COD. I know Big Reg plays COD and things like that. So,
I
but
might come out of retirement for college, maybe.
there we go. I stay in retirement because I suck. Big Rich says I've never seen any Star Wars, but you guys made the show sound good. Thank you,
Thank
appreciate that.
Thank
I'm
you.
actually before we had jumped on, I was talking to my mom's boyfriend, um, and he's an editor, he does video editing and everything. And one of the big things I want to do, I've always wanted to do, but you need an editor, is to do movie watch alongs and post them on YouTube because of the fair use. You can only use 10 minutes. Um, so you have to have an editor that can edit that stuff, knows how to edit it. So I'm going to talk to him. So I'll throw it out there for me if Jay ever wants to join.
Yeah,
If you
definitely.
have movies you want us to watch, we'll do a watch along and things like that. Let me know. I'm gonna try to do it and see if I can get it done. But that's something I've always wanted to do. There's certain movies that I want to react to that I love, especially movies that I grew up watching, like The Wood, Bronx Tale, Goodfellas, Casino. I love to show I love to show Jay Blood In, Blood Out because then he would get all my references when I say them. But there's a bunch of movies I would love to do, so I'm going to try to do that. If you, like I said, if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments, and I'll definitely try to get to them, and we'll try to make it happen. As for me, Suge9323, Twitter and TikTok. My links are in the bio, also in the description. Also, you can find me at Suge1323 on Twitch, where I'm usually playing video games, playing Magic, or I'm streaming, playing a tournament. You can come hang out with me there. I really appreciate all the support, all the love. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow myself, Mr. J, everybody that hangs out. Everybody's a good content creator. They have good stuff to offer, whether you're into sports, movies, wrestling, uh, comic books, whatever. Miss King Network, follow him. If you're into wrestling, Living Big with Big Reg, follow him. If you want some good life lessons, if you're a Ravens fan or a football fan, Spawn, I don't know Spawn if you're doing anything, but hey, give Spawn a follow if he is doing anything. Lunch Break Hot Take, give them a follow. Bronny, give him a follow. Well, Lunch Break, he's adjacent to Lunch Break Hot Take. Follow him. They have a bunch of great content. There's a big fight this weekend that me and Jay are excited about. I can't wait for it. So if you're into boxing, check out Lunch Break Hot Take, Ring Kings. They have some great stuff. OTR Mike, Coach, obviously Hendo. And on Tuesdays I do Still Conspiracy. Sometimes Hendo and Bronny will be there. I'm gonna get some other people to jump on with me. And Late Night with Suge Knight is I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that. If you have any suggestions on that, let me know. I'm going to try to do it. It's just tough because I don't want to sit there by myself sometimes. But we'll figure it out. Again, appreciate all of you hanging out. Appreciate all of you coming and hanging out with us all season long with The Mandalorian. Once again, Jay, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for doing this with me. We're going to do some more. But it's been great talking to you this season. It's been awesome. Cannot wait to do it for Ahsoka. With that, everybody have a good night. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Have a good night.